I get your attention, please? Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, namaste. Good morning. Professor Ramesh Deosaran, Chairman, Police Service. Commissioner of the Police Service Commission, Mr. Kenneth Parker, who's here. Senator the Honorable Subhash Ramkilawan, Chairman of the Joint Select Committee. Ms. Marlene MacDonald, Leader of Business, Opposition Chief Whip, and Member of Parliament for Port of Spain South. Mr. Samraj Haripol, Chairman, Law Reform Commission. Mr. Madri, Deputy PS, Ministry of Public Admin. Ms. Candice Rampasad of the Office of the Attorney General. Mr. Keith Renu and Ms. Michelle Oakley-Jones of the Ministry of National Security. Dr. Dwayne Gibbs, Commissioner of Police, members of staff of the Secretariat, members of the media, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. My function at this juncture is to just welcome all of you to this most significant and historical roundtable forum. And I'd like to recognize Ms. Donna Cox, MP for Laventille East Mover. The forum is aptly titled Strengthening Partnerships for Improving Public Safety, Challenges for Reform. This session, or this event rather, is primarily a planning one as we strive to move forward with the dynamic agenda of the Police Service Commission. I want to apologize to presenters or prospective presenters who receive requests to present or who may not have received those requests in a timely manner. It was never our intention to put you in a difficult position, and certainly this is not what we would want. So we understand your position and the program will be adjusted accordingly. However, this program, this forum, and the anticipated ensuing presentations, sharing and discussions are examples of the dynamism that the Police Service Commission demonstrates in its creative attempts to engage key stakeholders in critical discussions and in formulating partnerships to move the work of the Commission forward. The day, as we intended it, was planned to be an interactive one, and the program was designed to facilitate maximum participation and discussions of the issues presented. In the program provided to you, you will find the schedule of the various sessions and presenters, as I said, some of which will have to be adjusted. I want to thank you in advance for your full participation and contributions during the day's proceedings. Please note that Commissioner Martin George is unable to be with us. He asks to be excused. Commissioner Addison Khan will be joining us later in the morning for the afternoon session, and Commissioner Jacqueline Cheeseman will join us shortly. Without further delay, I introduce our chairman, Professor Ramesh Deosaran, who has an informative presentation for you. Professor Deosaran is above all an esteemed, brilliant scholar. And that is an accolade we do not give just to anyone. You really have to earn it. And as I proceed, you would understand why I use the term brilliant to qualify his scholarship. I also want to recognize at this juncture Ms. Gloria Edwards-Joseph, our DPA, Director of Personal Administration. So to continue, Professor Deosaran is a former independent senator and led the independent bench for a number of years. Professor Deosaran has served as an independent senator in the 3rd, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th Republican parliaments. During the 8th Republican Parliament, Professor Deosaran served as chairman of the Joint Select Committee, appointed to inquire to municipal corporations and service commissions. He has a vast experience in education, governance, and scholarly research. He was visiting professor at several international institutions, such as Stanford University, University of Hawaii, Oxford University, John Jay College of Criminal Justice, and the Universities of Calcutta and Bombay in India. He taught at the University of Carolina, Los Angeles, and Florida State University's School of Criminology and Criminal Justice, and of course our own University of the West Indies. He served for over 20 years at UWI, St. Augustine campus, where he was a founder and director of both the Ansa Makal Psychological Research Center and the Center for Criminology and Criminal Justice. He also served as head Department of Behavioral Sciences and Deputy Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences. In addition to being a hard-working visionary chairman of our commission and the driver of our strategic agenda, he is a member of the Teaching Service Commission. Professor Deosaran is an active researcher in the areas of crime prevention and management, criminal justice, school violence, and juvenile delinquency, poverty, education and administration, and equity, community policing and police reform, penal reform, governance, and civil society. He has 14 books published, as well as over 200 scholarly papers on the subjects listed above. I can go on for perhaps another hour or so, detailing the successes and the work of our esteemed chairman. But I will round up my introduction at this point of the good professor with a quotation by Anna Walcott Hardy and Marcia Erskine, writing for the UWI Pelican. And they said, he's been called controversial, witty, and engaged scholar and public intellectual. But one label that has not been given to the University of the West Indies Professor Emeritus and independent Senator Ramesh Deosaran is that of philosopher. Yet this is an attribute that he greatly respects. Ladies and gentlemen, guests and members of the Noble Press, it is my honor and pleasure to give to you Professor Ramesh Deosaran, Chairman of the Police Service Commission. Thank you.
Dr. Rai, you're lucky if the commission doesn't arrest you for exaggeration. But thank you very much. It's unexpected, and I must say quite flattering. Thank you very much. If the program looks much more important than it really is designed to be, I will attribute that to the flair of the Secretariat headed by Dr. Rai. The preparations, the documentation, the invitations, notwithstanding the lapse about the untimeliness, and there were reasons for it. We got confirmations from different agencies relatively late, and we were put in a squeeze, and we couldn't develop the program or issue invitations if we didn't get an acceptance confirmation letter in appropriate time. So it's not really an excuse. It is a lapse that we ask you to forgive us, but we want to give you a proper explanation for it so that all will be at ease. fellow commissioners, Ms. Cheeseman, Mr. Parker, Honorable Member Ms. Marlene MacDonald and Ms. Donald Cox, Mr. Subhash Pandey, Senator Subhash Pandey, Ram Kalawan. Very sorry, Subhash. Very sorry. Senator Subhash Ram Kalawan. And the fact is, he's my friend for many, many years, you know. We sat together in the Senate next to each other, and here I am. I was reading the newspaper this morning, though, about the other Subhash. Commissioner Dwayne Gibbs, Deputy Commissioner Mr. Jack Iwatsky, of course the Chairman of the Law Reform Commission, Mr. Samraj Haripal, and Ms. Jogi from the Law Reform Commission, Mr. Madri, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Public Administration, Mr. Keith Reno, Director of Law Enforcement attached to the Ministry of National Security, Ms. Otley, also legal advisor from the Ministry of National Security, members of the Secretariat, Ms. Gloria Edwards Joseph, I look across and saw Ms. Joseph, Director of Personnel Administration, and of course the media whose presence we appreciate for this part of the proceedings. That is, the proceedings before the break. I want to give you a brief presentation in three parts. The first part will deal extremely briefly with what were the conditions that led to the new legislation governing the police service and the Police Service Commission. Then I will explain again right briefly where we are today. And thirdly, where we need to go if we need to have an improved delivery of services for public safety and to remodel the governance structure pertaining to each institution related to public safety. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, you have been invited here today. You have been invited here today because with almost all of you, the Police Service Commission has held discussions in the last few months, and you have shared your own concerns with us with respect to, one, certain ambiguities not only in the legislation, but in the procedures that we share amongst ourselves. We thought, and this was agreement, that we should have a roundtable of this kind at the policy level, at the governance structure level. We are here today to continue that exercise. Let me emphasize, this is a preliminary meeting as was agreed. This is a planning meeting as agreed upon by the persons we spoke with and also by the Police Service Commission itself. A planning meeting for another larger roundtable which will include both primary and secondary stakeholders. We didn't want to organize anything at that higher level without your contribution and without your particular concerns involved in planning the next agenda. We in this country, ladies and gentlemen, if I will take the opportunity to emphasize, given the situation of crime and public safety in this country, and the several agencies which are empowered either constitutionally or by different acts of parliament, if we have to get a firm grip on this matter of public safety, we really have to learn to work more closely together. We have to recognize that the more we can help each other either individually or institutionally, it will be to the benefit of all of us because it is a matter of public safety. And public safety, the matter more precisely of crime, concerns all of us. And I am sometimes very disappointed as a professional and even as chairman of the Police Service Commission that we still have some way to go in learning how to work together for a common purpose.